Deb.
Good morning, and
Jim.
Jim, and our wonderful guest, Carla.
Carla. Welcome.
Carla is with us this morning.
There goes Anne-Marie.
You know how that goes.
As
Can't
Deb-
start a show without it.
As Deb mentioned last week, it's our 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
Wow, happy
Yes.
anniversary.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it's been a great, wonderful.
Well, I wanted to give Deb something this week.
Aw, Jim,
Happy
thank
first anniversary.
you. Aw.
And since it's paper
Mwah,
and,
mwah, mwah.
and a book is made of paper, I wanted to give Deb our dear friend Marie Pinschmidt one of her novels, Life Interrupted.
Aw, how lovely. She's such
I
a
recommend all of you read Marie's book.
Oh, Jim, how lovely is that? Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
semi-biographical, autobiographical for her.
Oh, I can hardly
Um,
wait to read that. That is
open your
fabulous.
card.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh, it's not about me today. Oh, this is lovely. Happy first anniversary. Okay.
The
And
reason
here
I'm-
we go, Lab.
Yes,
Look at
that's
that.
why I
Thinking
wanted
of
to-
you today. Look at that. How beautiful. Thinking of you today. Jim knows that's my favorite card. I mean, my favorite.
Oh, wow.
How beautiful. Look at
And
this.
some more lavender.
Yeah. Oh, he knows I love the butterflies. Happy. Aw, Jim, this is lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's paper. So happy
That-
first
I
anniversary.
can't stress how pretty that is.
It's gorgeous.
Look at that. Remember as a child we had those pop-up books? It was so exciting to us.
Yes.
And it was like a throw. This is just gorgeous. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm so excited that Carla is here with us. I've known her
Yes.
since the 80s.
Yes. And this is my first time meeting Carla, so I'm thrilled to meet you.
And they're both
Thank
color
you for being
coordinated
here.
with the lavender and
Yes,
purple.
the purple, the beautiful lavender, and the
Pearls.
pearls, and the pearls. Absolutely, the pearls.
I didn't get the memo, so I'm wearing blue today.
That's okay. We have to. Okay. Goodbye.
So Carla actually has lived here most of her all of your life, or most of
Since
it.
I was 6 months old.
Wow.
I've been here since 1966, so now they all know how
Wow.
old I am. But,
Okay.
And you've
That's
seen
all
a
right.
lot of changes in this area.
a
Oh my
lot of
goodness.
changes, and that's when I met you. I was with Community Savings,
Yes.
which was one of 3 of the community banks that did a lot of the lending to develop northern Palm Beach County,
Right.
really all of Palm Beach County. But yes, it has grown up a lot.
And
Yeah.
what's impressed me about Carla over the years is that she actually, her whole life has been devoted to concern for others, and her career choices and her life herself has been in providing information for people and really improving their lives, and that's what I've always been impressed
Thank
about
you.
with Carla. And you'll hear so much about it today. And one of her endeavors is called Healing Life, which is so, I love that term. I mean, St. Luke
Healing
has healed
life.
thyself, and you've been so concerned with healing life.
I just think life, it's such a gift that we're all given, and especially
It is,
over the
yeah.
past few years, the emphasis on crisis management. I like to focus on what we can do to heal, and
Right.
I've just really dove in the past 5 years, what it takes to heal.
Right.
It is so important for the mental psyche. Absolutely.
And you started in media, which is interesting to
a
know.
long time ago, I thought that my life was going to be a news anchor. But as so many of us, life goes a little different direction.
Right.
And I also am a huge child lover. I have 4 children and 4 grandchildren.
Yes, tell
so-
them us a little bit about that. I love to speak about family. Aren't there
Well,
names?
I was at Channel 12,
Right.
and I conceived my first child. And I was a very young mother, and I'm thankful I wouldn't have it any other way. And it looks like I'm going off camera a little bit. So I have
Here.
Danielle, Francesca, Sierra, and Jordan. And
Oh,
there
beautiful
is
names.
11-year span between Francesca and Sierra. So
Wow.
I was a young mom, and then I was a later mom.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
You've experienced
okay,
both aspects
okay.
of motherhood.
And I'm
Wonderful.
thankful they are my greatest life's work
Yes.
and
Wonderful.
joy.
And what's also impressive is, for me, a woman who's a mother and has a career. I mean, that's such a challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Wow.
you've done both and even more. So
Thank you. It's an
Yes.
ongoing challenge,
Yes.
as any working mom knows.
Yes.
It's a really unique role to be in, but
Yes.
more than half of the country, women are in
Right,
it now.
right.
And so that's what we do. We
Right.
keep
That's
going.
right. You keep going. You keep going.
that's why they say women are the stronger of the two sexes, because not only the childbirth, but actually the responsibility and just being there for the children. It's just beautiful. And then you were on radio personality too, right?
Yes, well, I was at television, then I went to community banking at Community Savings. I had about a year where I consulted with Palm Beach County commissioners and helped them with their affordable housing program. So during that time, I went to work at Community Savings, started writing a guest column with the Palm Beach Post. It ran like every 3 to 5 weeks, depending, because Bob Hetty was one of my greatest mentors, and at the time, Bob Hetty was syndicated all across the country. I don't know if you remember, but he's the founder of the Bank Rate Monitor.
Yeah.
And so he was a great mentor, and I loved writing about personal finance, and those gifts have kind of carried forward, and now I write more about healthcare and healthcare advocacy. But so it went journalism, banking, sprinkled with writing, and then I always saw these big deals with developers coming across my desk at the bank, and I thought one day I want to develop property.
Right.
And I started buying real estate at a young age, and so when the opportunity came, I had a partner, and we started Greenway Development and Design. And when the market was really adjusting, and around 2008, I was the crazy one who bought land really inexpensive from Tommy Frankel up in Abacoa, where everyone was adjusting and everything was flat, but it was a good time to buy.
Yeah, you had a lot of foresight.
So then we developed a couple of 5,000, big square foot custom homes, and that was fun. And I believe in supporting the environment.
Yes.
So I, during that process of building the custom homes, researched zero energy load homes. And there was a gentleman up in Melbourne, Florida, who had a patent. It was called Next Gen. There's a lot of Next Gens, but it was a zero energy load home.
Right.
And so we convinced the town of Jupiter to allow that to be built, which was the first one in Palm Beach County.
Pioneer we had here.
And then the Cinquez Park,
Right.
it was phase 2 of Cinquez Park, which is right off Indiantown Road.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of fun with that. And that's how I've been in real estate, really,
Right.
is more of a acquisition, development kind of person, not so much a general real estate
Right.
agent.
Right.
But I did help Illustrated open the Palm Beach office in
That's
2010
wonderful.
in the Paramount building. So
Okay.
this
Which has
is like
history
coming
also.
home
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Illustrated,
I mean, there's history there too with that Paramount building.
Oh, so much.
Yes.
That's where I had my first kiss in 4th grade.
Really?
I went to Palm Beach Public, and it used to be a movie theater. Yeah,
Oh, the
I remember
Paramount, yeah.
the little,
I had my first kiss in
Uh-huh.
kindergarten. Preceded you a little bit. What about you? First kiss?
10 years old. 10
10
years old.
That's another
Oh, yeah,
point.
10 years
Yeah.
old, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the cushy movie theater,
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how time goes. You go back and reflect on the memories. It's amazing.
Mine
It
was
is amazing.
after school. Wendy and I would kiss goodbye. It was cute.
Aw,
In kindergarten.
so
Yeah.
And now you're involved in health issues, which is
Well,
interesting.
I had my own health challenge in 2016 and 17. During those 2 years, it was about an 18-month period. I had 8 surgeries, and
Oh, my.
it was a fight for my life, and it was really frustrating and painful, and I was going through a divorce at the same time, which I believe kind of fueled some of the illness.
Sure, stress.
But
My goodness, yeah.
during that time, I had to become my own advocate and really learn about the condition I had, and then just about the healthcare system, on how to get second and third opinions and how to stand up for myself,
Sure.
because I didn't want to do what the doctors were recommending because the odds weren't as good on that path. So it really, through that process, my own personal healing journey, I had just founded the Healing Life Institute, which was based more on being informative and teaching people about health. And so it was like an accelerated journey.
Right.
And there's a designation that's been around. It's an emerging field called healthcare or patient advocacy. But in 2019 was the first cohort of graduates of an actual board certification. So there's a process, and most of the colleagues that have that certification are nurses or have some type of like actual health license.
Right.
I do not.
Right.
But I do have a good brain, and I have been at the bedside of several elders and people, and as a mom of 4,
Yeah,
you know,
life
I've seen that.
experience. Sure,
That's
life
right.
experience.
Sometimes
had
you
a
don't have
lot
to
of
have the degree.
experience.
Right, life
You don't have to
experience.
have that degree. The
Right.
life experience
Right.
alone is
Right.
amazing.
Right.
So
Well, especially
I have
when-
to say kudos to you. That's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's a strength that you've had to endure and go through and learn the process on your own, which is a
Thank you.
wonderful inspiring story. So thank you for sharing that. That's really
thanks.
nice.
Well, that's life, right?
It
you
is.
know,
It most certainly
So
is.
Carla
That's
is a
life.
certified patient advocate.
It's called
Wonderful.
a BCPA, Board
A
Certified Patient
BCPA.
Advocate.
Okay.
And I have had the unique privilege, I call it. It's a blessing, but the past 2 years, like so many of us, it's been a crazy time.
Yeah.
My mom is personally declining with dementia, likely Alzheimer's, and she lived in a rural part of North Carolina. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I had to go get her because a neighbor called, and then ultimately had to move her to Florida and with me, help her get surgery, because during a pandemic, they don't want to keep an elder in the hospital.
Sure.
She had major surgery and was there for 1 day. So I became a nurse.
Right.
I became a nurse
Right.
by necessity. I mean, it was many, many months. And so that, it's definitely additional education, and
It just shows you that you need an advocate. Your mother needed an advocate, and you were there for her.
Absolutely.
Everyone
She-
really needs one.
Everyone
Yes.
needs one, and that's really the information that I want to share this morning. I mean, I have come to this knowledge from, you know, a rapid initiation
Right.
of necessity, both with myself and with my mother. And then in August, end of July, August, my 37-year-old son-in-law was one of the people that we're so thankful. He was one of the lucky ones to beat the odds, but he got COVID, the Delta variant, and
Well, that's a
had
serious one.
COVID complications that nearly took his life multiple times.
Wow.
He was in ICU for 3.5 months, and then another 5 weeks on, rehabilitation, because when your body's on life support for 3.5 months, everything atrophies, and not only do your lungs have to recover, but what people don't understand about this pandemic is when you hear that someone's passed from COVID complications, our bodies are so amazing, and the way that they process, oxygen, the body needs oxygen
Right.
to go in the bloodstream to
Sure.
allow cells to regenerate and heal. And all of the life-saving measures that they have risk.
Right.
And if you have one of the unfortunate side effects of those life-saving devices, it creates a downward spiral. And if people don't have advocates, or they don't have consistent health care before they contract it, so they can't communicate with the crisis management team in the hospital, complications can rapidly accelerate because
Wow.
there's some underlying condition
Right.
that no one knows because no one's there to tell them. So that's my message today is we want to talk about how you can, on an annual basis, review with a trusted person. It doesn't have to be a paid advocate. As a patient advocate with a certification and a company, people hire me. Doctors refer complicated cases to me.
Right.
And then the clients hire me. Currently, Medicare does not pay for a patient advocate, although that's changing because there is this increasing gap of enough licensed healthcare providers.
Right.
There's a shortage that's only going to increase with the swell of people turning 65. Every day, 10,000 people or more are turning 65.
Right.
So by 2030, especially in Florida, there's going to be this lack. There currently is a shortage of physicians to elders, but it's just going to get
Worse.
broader. So
Right.
that's why there's this kind of urgency to educate the masses on, how can you organize your health records and your own health care, prioritize it. You know how they say if people spent the same amount of time on their finances as they did on recreation, or so many of the things that are just really not necessarily life-changing,
Right.
they would be millionaires.
Right.
Well, the same thing. If you spent a fraction of the time that you do watching television on understanding your health risk and your health conditions and sharing that, identifying who is it? If you don't have children, what friend
Right.
is going to know all of your details. Someone has to know. Because if they don't and you're sick, you're much more at risk of having complications.
Right.
No, even
Right.
even if it wasn't
Well, it
COVID.
makes all the sense in the
Yeah.
world.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
So, but no one wants to talk about it. It's not fun to, I'm also an insurance agent. I have life, health, and variable annuities. And over the past 6 months, while my son-in-law was in this, fight for his life, I wasn't working. I haven't really been working for the past 2 years professionally. I took on a few cases, but it was too much between my mom and grandkids,
Sure.
and just the emotional. There is an emotional trauma that goes with family members when there's a crisis.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so my goal in writing and educating people is to help them understand how they can minimize their own trauma and health risk by preparing. So
What an angel you are. I love listening to you. This
Well, we
is
said before there are
fabulous.
angels on earth, and Carla's
Yes.
one of
I
them.
just love
from
this.
your lips to God's ears. I've
No,
always
it's so
collected
very
angels,
important because you
actually.
just made a comment that we are so preoccupied with life and it's very normal and we don't take the time. We'll take the time to watch a program. We'll take the time to do the things that we feel, oh, okay, we'll get to it. But tomorrow may not come and we don't know what's in store. So what you're saying is a beautiful thing. So
Yes,
thank
your
you.
health
It's
is so
very,
important. Yeah.
very, very informative. I mean, really.
Thank you. Well, and being
Informative.
realistic about your health.
Yeah.
Your health
Absolutely.
is important, but it's very easy to put off or to
Oh, yes,
ignore
yes.
or to.
And you're afraid because
Yeah.
we're
Well, of
human.
course.
We're trying to say, okay, we won't get it. We'll do this. We'll stay away. We'll wear our mask. We'll do this. But you have to be prepared. You have to be.
Right.
And I've always been a proponent of living a healthy lifestyle
Yes.
and eating
Yes.
the proper foods.
Yes.
I mean, some people say to me, do you ever put anything in your mouth that's not healthy? Because I really think about
do.
what I'm consuming before I eat it. I don't usually eat a lot of sugar and things.
No, you're wonderful that way,
But
right?
if you're healthy and naturally healing your body, hopefully you won't need intervention
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
future, or if
yeah.
it is, it won't be as severe. And as
Absolutely.
we know, our Western medicine is so focused on medicine and
Right,
not, and
a
not
quick
natural.
fix,
Yeah.
right.
And so you live your life, and then all of a sudden you want
That's-
some help, and it's got to be medicine or some outside source. It should be coming from within,
Within,
where your
right,
body can heal
right.
itself.
And it's interesting that you pull that point out because so much of my work, just to explain a little bit further, oftentimes a doctor will refer a patient to
Right.
me because they have multiple diagnoses, right? They have some complicated thing. And that means that there's multiple specialists and medications usually involved. But because not only of the pandemic, but the current structure of our healthcare, which is changing. That's one of the good things I think a byproduct of the pandemic is there are alternative ways to get healthcare, such as not just telemedicine, but there's more services coming to the home and what have you. But I will go into the home and doctors normally refer to me when they just can't get the outcomes that they're wanting and they need someone to get closer, to look closer and to know more. And one of the first things that I always find is that the diet is not being consistent
Right.
and consistently healthy, because when a person is ill, and the majority of the cases I've received have been elders, so
Right.
someone over 60, 65.
Right.
But what happens is when you start feeling bad, you feel poorly and you don't have the energy to necessarily cook or walk, do
Right.
the things that naturally regenerate the body.
Right.
So it becomes even more important to understand nutrition, and it's not often given with discharge papers. It's a very generic printout, and a lot of times there's not restrictions on the diet. But it is so fundamental to good health. If you have low sodium, high nutrition, 70% leafy greens, fruits and vegetables, high fiber across the board.
Right.
And unless someone has an extreme irritable bowel syndrome or something where they
Right.
couldn't process it, I mean, just changing the diet with living food, it creates living cells in your
Yes.
body. And, we don't have to get rapidly old, as you say about people teasing you, if you put living food in your body and clean food that doesn't have preservatives that stay on the shelf,
Right.
your body is going to remain vibrant and have this dynamic energy that it needs to regenerate.
Right.
I always think, like,
So true.
if you have food that's sitting on the shelf and it has additives in it to keep it for up to 5 years, what do those things do in your body?
Right.
Is it hardening our arteries, our bones? Like, there has to be some correlation, and it may not be that simplified on how it works chemically in the body, but I know myself, if I have a green juice or I love salads, with some protein, fish, if I eat that type of Mediterranean full spectrum, color spectrum diet, I feel better.
Yes.
It's so true.
And I often think about that when we travel to Italy. Have you been to Italy?
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone raves about the food because it's all fresh. I
Yeah.
mean, but they don't buy things and keep them on the shelf for months at a time. They buy fresh almost every day or two. They're out at the supermarket purchasing their food, and that's so important to have fresh food.
And that's a tip.
Yeah.
Speaking of Italy, we'll promote Italy. So a lot of people have gluten sensitivity now, and or they think they have gluten sensitivity. They can't digest pastas and breads in the same way they used to. But what many nutritionists and doctors have found is it's not just gluten. It's the chemicals that are used to accelerate the production of the wheat.
Oh, interesting.
So I can only eat pasta from Italy or overseas that does not allow those same chemicals
Wow.
in their manufacturing and
Right.
processing of pasta.
Wow.
So it's when you start to dive into your own personal health, and again, back to the message I'm going to keep driving this whole morning, is take the time to really invest in learning about yourself and your sensitivities, but also make sure that you're reviewing your medications. There's a whole bunch of little tips. I don't know if you want me to just run through them, or
I think it
have
would be
you-
wise to do that, yes.
Well, so I would go into a home, and repeatedly what I will see is a bunch of medication on
Right.
a bedside table.
Yes.
Because when a person's not well, they're spending more time in bed.
Right.
And for whatever reason, people put their medicine on the nightstand instead of having it in an organized basket in the kitchen, or, because really a lot of medicine should be taken with food or not with food. So one of the first things that I do is I help organize health records, and I get a real full picture of who the doctors are, who they have seen, and what are all the medications. But over and over again, people don't know all their medications. And it's the reason this is so important is because if you happen to care for someone or unexpectedly are called into that role, it's so important to organize the medication and to understand if the medication is being taken properly as prescribed, and if there's any interactions.
Right.
Because if a person goes to multiple doctors, they don't feel good, and again, this is from firsthand experience, they're so annoyed and aggravated with having to fill out the paperwork
Oh,
to
yes.
see a new doctor, right?
That's
So
the
they
truth.
don't fill it out properly. So they don't remember at the moment because something's hurting, they're waiting, they're annoyed, and they don't take the time to fill out the intake papers properly. So then this new doctor doesn't have a full history, doesn't have all the medication, and they prescribe something, right? Because different doctors have different ways of treating the
Right.
same condition.
Right.
So now a person is given double medication for a condition that may have an interaction, and because some part of them knows, well, maybe, this is a different doctor, I want to try his thing, so I'm going to get it at his pharmacy right here and not at my local Walgreens or my local Publix or wherever. So the pharmacy doesn't catch it, and now this person becomes sicker because of the drug interaction.
Right.
And they're self-defeating, right? So a really easy first step is to get all your prescriptions at the same place. And if you do that, the pharmacy will have all of your prescriptions. I have an app on my phone. My
That's
pharmacy,
right.
no sponsorships, but I go to
Right.
Walgreens because of
Right.
my insurance. So on the app, you have so many tools at your fingertips that will give you all of your prescription history for years.
Right.
It gives you all the doctors that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It will give you a pill reminder that will make an alarm go off on your phone if you take the time or have a grandchild or a tech savvy friend help you set it up. It's one of the easiest ways to get a quick handle of
Definitely.
your healthcare providers and prescriptions. And then at least you can start to get order of not having interactions, which could further.
Sure. And what's so important is that you take this action now before your loved one or a
Yes,
friend
yes.
is in an emergency situation, because then it's so difficult to communicate with the party to get
Right.
the history. So you want to do that now while they're,
Right.
they're in a state where they can communicate with you and you can establish the health record. It's so
Right, right.
important to do that.
It is, and the government is going to make it easier for us. You know, people have all their different opinions about government these days, but the American Medical Association and our Congress uses statistics from independent sources that rely on the census and
Right.
different surveys. So we have this thing. Most of your viewers probably have heard of this wave of baby boomers. And we just talked about how like 10,000 people a day are turning 65. Well, we're getting closer to the end. I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers.
Right.
I'm 56. I'm not at that 65 yet. But by 2030, we're going to have, I think it's something like 84 million people that
Wow.
are over 65. And we're going to need like 407,000 physicians to treat those people.
Right.
And so as that system reaches like a peak and a strain, the better prepared, organized, really it's just being organized, is being prepared.
Yes.
And knowing what your rights are. There are patient rights. And that's where the insurance, Medicare, when you turn 65, for those of you who are not 65 yet, you're going to get bombarded with all kinds of information that seems overwhelming and confusing. You've probably seen the commercials.
Oh my God, you can't say enough of that. My husband is 66.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went on Medicare, let me tell you something, I was never more confused than I was he. And we're still confused.
I was just going to say.
And the commercials are all well and good, and they're very informative, you think.
And they have all the celebrities.
But
pitching
exactly,
these,
you've
yes.
got, what is this, Jimmy Walker from, what was that?
Good Times.
There you go. And you've got Joe Namath. And they're doing a great job. They're doing a fabulous job in the commercial. But part A, part B, I'm thinking, okay, and then it goes through the whole alphabet. Which goes with which? I mean,
So
it's just
confusing.
very, very
So
confusing.
it is so confusing,
Very
and that's
confusing.
been the evolution of my winding career path. So doing the advocacy work time and time again, I saw that people didn't have the right doctors. They couldn't get second opinions or third opinions or go to the hospital that they really wanted that would have the right care for them because they didn't have the right plan. They didn't have the right insurance coverage, and they were waiting until open enrollment to be able to switch plans, but then they would get confused because they don't feel good, and they're responding to a commercial and then changing their plan with someone on the phone who's telling them about, you can do this, this, and this, and that sounds all good, like you said, well and good, but that's why I reinstated. I had it in the 90s when I was banking, but it's called a Florida 215. It's a life, health, and variable annuity license. But then I specifically wanted to go into Medicare study. And Medicare requires all health insurance agents to be annually health insurance educated on changes in Medicare because they change every year. But the government has a website, cms.gov is the umbrella one that is all information for medical services, Medicare, Medicaid, and I have to give the disclaimer, I do not work for the government. I am not affiliated with them in any way other than being an independent licensed agent. So when I use the word Medicare on air, I have to give that disclaimer. I am an independent agent, so I currently am what's called appointed, and I can write Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, Cigna, United Healthcare, MMM, which had a lot of commercials this past open enrollment season. What's important to understand about the commercials is no one can call you. The law on Medicare is an agent cannot call you unless you request information. So the big companies very consciously and deliberately advertise in different media forms where they know the demographic is going to be an older demographic, and at times where they might be tired or they might be more open to having a conversation, right? Once you call, they can now call you for information. But almost all of those commercials are for only one insurance company. And depending on where you live, all around the country and all around Palm Beach County,
Interesting.
one plan may not give you access, for example, to Jupiter Medical Center. Another plan would. So if you're confused already and you don't know that,
It's overwhelming.
It really is.
How are you
It really
really
is.
going to get the care that you need? So that's, in patient advocacy, there's nurses that worked with specifically with cardiac conditions, for
Right.
example. And if a person has a complex cardiac case, then within our board certified patient advocates national network, we try to connect people with the advocates that are the right specialty. And as much as I resist it, it seems to be that having the finance insurance background, that is a niche for me that can give the greatest assistance.
Right.
Because once you get the right plan and you make sure that your doctors are all communicating and you have your health records in order and you have an understanding of what your diagnosis is and what your choices are, etc., life gets better. Outcomes are 100% better,
Well, what you're saying is so essential, and you have to be proactive, so it makes all the sense in the world.
So that message is make sure
So
that you do
essential.
your annual review if you're in Medicare or if it's just private insurance, but make sure that you're speaking with someone that isn't representing just one company, because there's no one company that can take care of everyone's needs.
Right.
And the good thing about Medicare and the protection is that the agents, it's the same pay. It's not like someone's going to make a bunch more money on one company over another. We're regulated by the government. So if you're just turning 65, in Florida, an agent, if they write someone for the first time on Medicare, it's about $550 they get paid. But they might spend 5 hours with you. Hopefully they're going to spend, a regular quarterly check-in and become a real advisor to you. But then every renewal, they make about $270.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be scared of an insurance agent taking advantage of you. It's much better for you to speak with an agent that's independent, that can represent and compare multiple
Sure,
carriers.
it's invaluable.
And there's a tool that we have as an independent agent where it will give us all of, just like if anyone's ever gone onto healthcare.gov, on the Medicare site it will do that too. It will show you the different companies. If you put in a zip code, different deductibles, you can sort it a bunch of different ways. But it is a maze.
Yes.
It is overwhelming.
Yes, I
And
know.
so that's something
Wow.
that if you take the time to do that annual review, as some people just really don't want to do it. They just
Right.
don't
Well,
want to do it.
because they're thinking it's so much work. What do you do? It's confusing. Oh, tomorrow. But no, you're right. It's
But
so
if
essential.
you do it, and you do it just like you would do any other maintenance on your car or your finances,
Knowing it
right?
has
If
to
you
be
do
done,
it,
right.
then you have at your fingertips through knowing your insurance plan. If you're on Medicare, you can log in, you create an account, you can log in, and you will have an electronic file, or if you want to print it out, which I recommend printing it out, having a binder. It has every doctor you've seen, it has every diagnosis, because they're paying it, right? So your whole health record is there.
Mm.
And you don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't have to pay someone extra money, because if someone hires me, that's the first place I'm going to go. Is
Right.
I'm going to teach them how to use their account, and then we're going to organize it. And then, just to kind of give our friends and neighbors, the Palm Beach Civic Association is in the same Paramount building we were speaking about
Oh.
earlier. And it's a wonderful nonprofit that is kind of like a hub of multiple nonprofits. But on their website, and there's many different forms of this, including on Medicare.com, but I pulled this one because it's such a good one page to give an example. Everyone, no matter what your age, should have something like this. And it's, I don't know if they'll be able to see it, but it's a personal medication. It's a one page,
Information,
right?
Right.
So-
all that information that you can.
And it's old fashioned, right? People say, oh, it's old fashioned, I don't want to do a page. But whatever your comments are, what I can tell you is, if there's an emergency, if God forbid you fall or there's some emergency, if you have a piece of paper and you know where that piece of paper is, and it has your vaccines. Now, have you had COVID vaccine?
Wonderful.
Are you diabetic? Do you take insulin? What are your allergies? What's your medication? If
Right.
you take the time to create emergency contacts, emergency directions, what do you want? Do you have a no CPR or a do not resuscitate? People don't like to think about it. People don't want to talk about it.
Right.
But again, now with COVID more than ever, some people are on life support for a long time, and none of us know where we are when we're not conscious, but my personal belief is that we're still there in
Yeah.
some way. So, these are really important things. And again, right here,
medical
what's your
insurance.
medical insurance?
Right.
Because although it should not be, very frequently people with proper coverage do get more rapid treatment.
Mhm.
They just do.
That's a fact of life.
Well,
So
this is wonderful.
I really encourage, and I don't know how you communicate with your audience, but I will put all this information up. It's time to do some updates to the website, but my website is healinglife.us. So
Remember
I'll put all
that.
these resources there, and
Healinglife.us. Yes.
that I'm going to be releasing a book. It should be out. It's going to be ebook first format at the end of February, and it's a guide to 65. But it will have all of this
Wow.
information in it,
Fabulous.
and
That's gonna be
I
great.
welcome anyone to request it through the website, and I'll send you a free copy. And
That's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, look
That's
for it.
Healinglife.us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
You are a wealth of information.
I know.
It
I
really
just
is
downloaded
wonderful.
a lot, so I'm going
No, I
to give you
think
guys a chance
it's
to.
wonderful. I mean, is it not wonderful to hear this? I
Well,
mean,
it is
we need-
perplexing for the Medicare, especially,
Exactly.
to try to
We
evaluate
need
what you
this.
should do. Secondary plans, it's just
You know,
overwhelming for people.
We
I don't-
try to be proactive. We
Yes.
truly do, but this is essential. So thank you so much. This is great information.
You're welcome. And that could be a whole nother visit. I mean, there are so many kind of Medicare basics
Right.
that
It can
we
go on
could
and
go
on.
through, but it really is such a individual. I hesitate to do generalities
No.
because there's so much out there, and everyone's health is different.
Right, it would be better for people to
True.
contact you
Individually,
and
yeah.
be guided.
True.
It's so invaluable.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned that first years and years ago. I was a client of mine. It was in his 90s. He had no family. He was from Switzerland. I met him in West Palm Beach when my office was down there, and I became his advocate for him because he needed somebody.
That's wonderful.
And
yeah.
because I was his attorney, it was natural to evolve to be his advocate.
Right.
But I knew all about the doctors, his medication, and I would go with him on doctor visits. Then my mother, when she became ill, I was her advocate.
Yes, you
You know,
are,
so
yeah.
you just
Right.
assume the role. But you're right. If you're prepared in advance rather
Yes,
than when the
yes.
emergency arises, that's so important to have all that information on a record.
But and
available.
to have the conversations
Yes.
with those people that you are hoping to be your advocate, because not everyone performs well under stress, and not everyone really wants to step up and take on that role. So if you're in good health and you can have an adult conversation with your adult children or your neighbor or your spouse or whomever it is that you want to be that key person,
Right.
especially with COVID, sometimes they only allow one person, right? So if you have 4 kids like me, not all 4 kids are going to be allowed to be in the hospital. So
Right.
I have to pick one. Maybe that can cause some family dynamics. I just went through that with my mom,
Right.
my other siblings, and there was a lot of, you know,
Discussion and issues that
yeah,
arise. Yes.
so it's so important to get clear,
Yeah.
because if you're clear and the person that you're asking to help you is prepared ahead of time, and they know what their role is, they know what your wishes are, and they know what your health
Right.
issues are,
Right.
then it all works better. But if you just leave it to chance, it's all up to God anyway. But it could be a lot easier if you just take the time to have some difficult
And
conversations.
you avoid issues when
Right.
when you've
Right.
taken that.
And
extra
that's
step.
like, bouncing back to Jim. I mean, Jim's an estate attorney. He does real estate. We all know him for real estate. But it's so important to have those members of your team. It's not just one.
Right.
It's not just an attorney. It's not just a spouse. It's not just an insurance agent. It's not just a doctor. It is a team that will get you to your longest, healthiest life.
Right.
Right.
And you need to spend the time
Yep.
on a scheduled basis, I say annually, to just make sure everything's updated. And I'm going to circle back to one more thing and just reinforce. I mentioned when you go to a doctor, when people want to go to a new doctor or what have you, but then they get annoyed with having to put stuff in the system. And a lot of doctors are now electronic, so
Right.
they hand
Yes.
you an iPad. And people of a certain age don't like that at all. They
Isn't
get
that the truth?
they
That is
don't
so
like
true.
it,
Yes,
and they get cop an attitude before they even see their doctor because they don't like the iPad. Well, you need to rethink that, because they can only know what you tell them. So if you don't check your information, or for example, you've had the same doctor for 10 years and now there's a new girl and a new system and they ask you to fill it out, and you say, I've been here for 10 years. They know all my stuff. Why do I have to do this? Seen it lots of times.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Well,
that's true.
because it's a new system, and in a year things could change. And maybe you're taking a new medication from a new doctor that you saw, or maybe you had COVID and that could impact your immune system long term. Maybe you didn't have the shot, maybe you did. Whatever has happened in that year related to your health, your doctor needs
Yeah,
to know,
definitely.
because they
Oh,
may
of
or may
course.
not have
Oh,
it
sure.
documented. So let them help you. Don't be resistant to change and to request for information, because that information in the long term is going to benefit.
Right. Well, we're so appreciative that you're here with us
We
today,
really
Carla.
are. Thank
Thanks.
you so
Because
much.
healing life is so important. We want to heal our lives.
I've learned a lot, boy. I'll tell you why.
And now
Oh, it's
I see
wonderful.
Jim has some other goodies.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, I always like to refer to Marie Pinschmidt. So,
Marie has got this fabulous, fabulous book,
Out of My Mind
Out
and
of
Into
My
Your Heart.
Mind and Into Your Heart. And she's got an essay for everything.
Yes.
And Jim is
Aw.
wonderful about picking the ideal
yes.
essay for every topic that we
But
speak
we're
of.
talking about improving our lives. So
Yes.
this is what I found that I'd like to recite for everyone to hear. We will never find contentment until we learn to control our own mind and heart.
Mhm.
We must reject the opinion of others and listen to our own voice. Let the music of your heart ring out. Let your eyes feast on the beauty all around you. Let it ooze from your fingertips at the easel, the piano, the pencil, and paper. Listen and pay close attention to the thoughts from your own mind and release them before they disappear in the maelstrom of public opinion. Be what you are born to be. Be what you are inside, and listen to your heart because it knows the truth. Isn't that beautiful?
Isn't that fabulous?
Beautiful.
Yes.
And Marie,
Such wisdom, Marie. We
mwah,
thank
we
you.
love you. We thank you every time.
I'll have to get that.
Yes, it's a
Fabulous.
wonderful book. And what a difference a day makes.
What a difference a day makes. It most certainly does. What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers where there used to be rain. What a difference a day makes. And the difference is you and you and you. You better believe you make a difference. And you know what? Thank you so much.
Yes, we
for coming.
appreciate you,
Thank
Carla.
you for
Joining us.
having me. I know
Yes.
I'm a
Carla,
talker.
you're
Wealth
a
of
wealth. No, it's
information.
fabulous. You are a wealth of information.
Yes.
And please, would you please say your website again to everybody?
It's Healing Life,
Healing Life.
healinglife.us. and I'll come back and tell you about the book when I'm ready to share it.
Oh, we wish you so much success on that, and
Yes.
just a wealth of really fabulous
Thank you
information.
so much.
We
What a
really do
joy.
appreciate you. Thank
Well,
you.
we look forward to seeing you next week.